All right, this is the Maserati versus the Corvette, right? Oh yeah, Maserati MC20 versus Corvette Z07. I'm automatically rooting for Corvette. If y'all follow me, y'all know Corvette's my favorite car of all time since I was a little kid. I think it was a 10 or 11. Me and my dad actually, we love the Corvette. That is number one. Now, am I saying I'm right? No, I'm not. We're gonna see in this video, but honestly, I'll put a Corvette against anything. To be real, even something that's obviously better than the Vet, I'm still going to choose the Vet. I'm that kind of fan. So I could be wrong here, but let me know in the comments. We're going to get right to this video. Let me know in the comments who you're going for, the Vet or the Maserati. Now, shout out to Auto Trader. I'm going to put this whole video in the descriptions. But let me like the video now and get it out the way. And let's see this. Europe versus USA track showdown. Love the Corvette, bro. Look at that beauty right there. Well, both of them are beauties, but gotta love it. But Vet all day.
America and Europe have a very special relationship. We tend to cooperate when it comes to most things, but when it comes to cars, we love a good fight. Trouble is, when it comes to supercars, there really is no competition. Europeans do it best. Don't shoot me. But it is true.
But America
beautiful.
is
Maserati beautiful too.
This.
I'm not playing with them either.
Chevy have stepped their game up considerably with a mid-engined Ferrari-inspired V8 monster that doesn't just try to compete on a level playing field. In many ways, it puts its European rivals to shame.
Beautiful.
Trouble is, that's easier said than done, isn't it?
I would love to be a host of these car shows and stuff like this. To be able to stand next to those cars and drive them, that would be sick.
Of things like this.
Yo, I'm gonna put myself out there right now. Hold up, let me put myself out there. Y'all, please share this video. Share this moment. Car companies, supercars, sports cars, etc. You want to host? Let me know. We could talk business and all that stuff, but I would love to be this guy. I would love to present these cars for all different kind of companies. Let me know, because this is definitely a passion of mine. I look at sports cars, supercars, etc. like beautiful artwork. I'm a person that loves going to art galleries, and I look at these cars the same way I look at art galleries. I'll be there for hours just admiring the beauty of them. So please consider me. Consider me. Hit me up. Iron Angel. All right, here we go.
MC20. Now this is the very definition of a supercar, the latest in a long line of Italian thoroughbreds, and it's got all the ingredients you want. Power, passion, poise.
What Maserati was this
Logic
again?
says that if you're
MC20.
looking for a mid-engined exotic, well then they don't come much better than this. Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned intercontinental showdown.
Yeah, Maserati's not to be played with.
Today's objective is to see whether the Corvette, arguably the only real mass-market supercar America has left, can compete with one of the latest from the other side of the pond. And before we start, we should take a closer look at the similarities, but also some of the key differences between these two protagonists. The Maserati was unveiled in 2020, with the C8 Z06 arriving a year later in 2021. The MC20 was built in Modena, Italy, and has a price tag of $212,000 compared to the Kentucky-built Z06's $160,000, a price that includes the track-focused Z07 package. Both cars use an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, sending power to the rear wheels, although the power units in both these cars are very different.
Man,
the
that's
Maserati
beautiful, bro.
MC20 uses a slightly unconventional engine, some might say. That is a 3-litre twin turbocharged V6 sitting right in the middle of the car. Missing a couple of cylinders, but it's not quite as unusual as the engine that you find in the Corvette. It seems that Chevy's engineers might have cast their attentions towards Europe when developing this, because this is the first ever Corvette to feature an engine that isn't in the front. It's now smack bang in the middle, and doesn't it look amazing? Finally, they've built a proper supercar. But if we're really talking about the thing that makes supercars super, then you've got to have some silly doors. And in the case of the MC20, a set of dihedral doors mounted to a high-tech carbon tub. I don't know which one of these is faster on the track, but if races
Corvette
decided on style, the MC20 will be lapping this thing, I tell you. Not only is the MC20 gorgeous to look at, it's also got something else on its side. It's dripping with heritage. The company was founded in 1914 in Modena, Italy, and ever since then, they've left a huge imprint on the world of motorsport. They dominated the famous Targa Florio. They had a couple of big successes in Formula One, with Juan Manuel Fangio winning the Drivers' Championships in a Maserati, and they've had multiple successes in Indy 500. It's not just a pretty face, because that motorsport heritage is baked right in.
The MC20 marks Maserati's return to motorsport relevance, a return to form that competes not just with mid-engine rivals on the road, but one that also engages in proper competition, including the GT2 race series.
Ooh, look at that.
What's really interesting is
let's see that again. Go back. Wait, let me see it then, because I don't think they'll show it again.
In proper competition, including the GT2 race series.
What's really interesting is the engine that Maserati have returned with. Not a V8, but rather a V6. Bit unexpected, but you could argue that Maserati were a little bit ahead of the curve, because we're now seeing a whole bunch of other supercars, including the 296 GTB and McLaren Artura, although those are hybrids, both using V6s. And to be fair, Maserati's V6 is a little bit more clever than the norm.
The Nettuno engine uses F1 inspired.
I didn't realize that about the switch to V6. I like that's one
a little bit more clever.
That's why I also like watching these videos, is I learn a little more. Like I said, I'm not the best of extra details of these cars, and you know, I know enough information when it comes to the details, but it's those little nuggets like that I didn't know, and that's why another reason I like watching these videos.
Bit unexpected, but you could argue that Maserati were a little bit ahead of the curve, because we're now seeing a whole bunch of other supercars, including the 296 GTB and McLaren Artura, although those are hybrids, both using V6s. And to be fair, Maserati's V6 is a little bit more clever than the norm.
The Nettuno engine uses F1 inspired pre-chamber combustion, essentially using two sets of spark plugs to generate a more efficient burn in a shorter amount of time, allowing for a higher compression ratio of 11:1 and a higher engine power density than from any of its main rivals. No other production V6 makes this much power.
Forget the nerd stuff. What you want to know is it quick? And the answer, absolutely. 0 to 60, 2.9 seconds flat out. 202
wow,
miles an hour. It's a rapid car.
0 to 60, right? Yeah, 0 to 60.
The downside is the sound. I do like the whistling from the turbos, but let's face it, this is not the best sounding car in the world.
Here we go. Yes, sir.
The Corvette, meanwhile, sounds excellent.
Beautiful. Love that.
It has 670 horsepower, or 679 PS, and this one is fitted with a track-focused Z07 package, which means it has a host of extra features that reduce weight, add downforce, and enhance grip.
Yep.
It's 60 kilograms or so heavier than the Maserati, with the standard Z06 managing the same 0 to 60 time. But with the Z07's use of extra sticky Cup 2R tires, this car does the 0 to 60 sprint in just 2.6.
Look at that interior.
Yep.
Look at that beauty, bro. I love the Vette.
It's a rapid car. It's got so much power.
But that traction, yeah, it definitely helps.
Even though it has a couple
like you said, it goes to 0 to 60 at the same time, but that traction with the that's going to help a lot when it comes to the race I'm talking about.
434 horsepower per ton versus 420 per ton. But this soundtrack is a lot more impressive. It's a real screamer.
I said in another video I did of cars, I was like, the sound is also what gets to me, bro. I can sit there, I can literally sit at a track and I don't like have watch these other people own the cars. I can get a chair and just sit there with my eyes closed and just listen. It's calming to me. Very peaceful.
A full 1,100 more than an EMC 20. And just listen to that.
Beautiful.
It's just crazy fast.
I would love to
What
host
did
these
the
kind of
American
videos
say?
and be the guy in the
Ain't
car
no
like that.
replacement for
That would be cool.
displacement.
I know he's
Well,
enjoyed it.
You can add noise to that list as well. Shout out to this gearbox.
Look at that
as
turn.
well.
Look at the sharp turn.
Super quick up and down the box. In fact, Chevy say the best way to get lap time is to leave it in automatic and let it do its thing. Which is fair enough because it just seems to be in the right gear at the right time.
Yeah, I'm more of an
Always.
automatic driver too. I know some people don't like that. They're like, wait, manual? That's not really me. I'd rather let them do it
The
itself.
Corvette's engine isn't particularly American, being of the flat plane crank variety normally favored by Europeans. You could also argue that Corvette might have got their inspiration for the engine directly from Ferrari. But the Maserati borrows some Ferrari flavor too, sharing many similarities with the Ferrari-derived V6 found in the Alfa Giulia GTA. Whichever way you look at it though, the motor delivers.
Yes.
This engine is just addictive. Oh yeah. Maserati 1, Corvette 1.
We touched on design earlier with the MC20's doors making a huge first impression, but it's only fair we take a closer look at both these cars to ask ourselves which is prettiest. There isn't a clear winner, but the Maserati is certainly gorgeous. It's a car of two halves, with the upper section finished in body color being the more emotive side and one designed entirely by hand. The lower section, here finished in carbon fiber, designed by computer, is said to encapsulate the engineering-led side of the car, but there's plenty of flair. The provocative, pouting front end, the deep, sculpted side skirts, the high-mounted air intakes, and the sea of references to the Maserati Trident badge, including the floating design on the front, tridents on the wheels, and even a trident on the lightweight Lexan engine cover.
The Corvette, meanwhile, looks like it was dreamed up in the mind of an overexcited child. In a good way. I love the way this thing looks. If you're not familiar with Corvettes, there are basically 3 versions. There's
I like how you put that.
Stingray. Looks like it was dreamed up in the mind of an overexcited child.
Yes, it
in
does.
a good way.
It
I
does.
love the way this thing looks. If you're not familiar with Corvettes, there are basically 3 versions. There's the standard Stingray, there's the upgraded Z06, and then there's the top dog Z06 with Z07 package, which we have here today. And this is the car that has a bunch of upgrades to make it much faster around a racetrack, including all types of aero, big old front splitter, big dive planes up front, and it's actually wider than before as well by 30 millimeters at the front and 40 millimeters at the rear to accommodate much bigger wheels and tires. 2 75/30 ZR20s up front and 345/25 ZR21s at the back. And also these wheels are carbon, saving 18 kilograms of unsprung mass from the car. By the way, this is a convertible and a coupe in one. The roof comes off if you want it to. It's also got this unique air intake at the side, and then things go really crazy around the back, including a big old rear diffuser, quad exhaust pipes, and a huge
I've seen this before with the Vest, but I can see it over and over again. I love it.
This car generate a massive 332 kilograms of downforce at 186 miles an hour. Fast.
I've seen almost every presentation of a Vette.
That depends on what you like. Me, I like the back of the Corvette and the front of the Maserati. So on the basis of design being completely subjective, it's probably a draw.
I'm sorry. I love the both sides. Love the Vette better than the Maserati. Maserati looks nice. Do not get me wrong.
As the Corvette,
but maybe my huge fandom since I was 11 years old of the Vette.
On the racetrack.
I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm choosing Vette. But no, it's just, in my opinion, I think that car looks better.
Are really, really lovely.
Now, it might be another Maserati style out there that looks better than this Vette. I just got to see it. But this one in particular is very nice. Don't get me wrong. That looks very nice. But I would take the front and back and the side of a Vette.
In the hands.
I do like the window type of the Maserati in the back.
Tiny, tiny actions from the wheel result in huge movements from the chassis. It does take a little while to get used to, and you got to have your wits about you and concentrate on the task at hand.
Yes,
because if
I was about to say, please, if y'all got cars up, just be careful. You want to live and enjoy your car.
It's wonderful as well. Super rigid, very, very composed. Even over the curbs or on any bumps, it remains remarkably composed. It just feels like it's extremely happy with whatever you can throw at it. It's really well sorted. The only downside, if I was going to point something out, are the brakes. You push them, and at first it feels like nothing's happening. So then you push harder, yep, and suddenly they wake up.
Oh,
They are
yeah.
super
Personally,
strong,
I don't like
carbon
that.
ceramic.
I like sensitive brakes where you press it a little bit and it stops almost hard. I like that better. Yeah, I was never a fan. It's not just this car; it's other cars where it takes a little bit more pressure and then it finally starts breaking. Little, I'm not a fan of that. I like the ones you tap, not really tap, but press it a little bit, and the car is getting ready to stop quick. I prefer that. Just
Which
a
means
small
that
little preference for
they're
me.
resistant to fade and overheating, but that little bit of reluctance to actually bring the car to a halt from that initial push, it concentrates the mind. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's clearly not going to be as quick as the Z07, and a lot of that is going to be down to the tires and, of course, the lack of downforce. But you just know,
Good point.
if you were to slap a couple of Bridgestone Potenza races onto this thing, it would be absolutely immense on the track. This is so much fun.
Yeah, you always got to remember that on the road with the Maseratis, the brake a little
The
earlier.
word fun probably wasn't on the agenda when Chevy designed the Z06 with Z07 package. Their intention for this particular track-oriented car was lap time, and as a result, it feels like a far more focused, serious, and unforgiving animal.
The overriding impression you get when you drive this Corvette is that it feels very angry. The engine is angry.
That's a good point. It
is
does.
angry.
I didn't even think of it like that.
corners Like it's angry. But there's something that I'm a little bit angry as well, personally, and that is the ergonomics. I don't think it's the most comfortable car in the world. These seats almost feel a little bit
It's his opinion.
over-supportive.
It's his opinion.
It's kind of pinching me in the wrong places, and also I'm sat up relatively high in the car, which means I don't feel like I'm connected to the chassis in quite the same way as I do in the
I don't know.
MC20.
Sounds like you just trying to find
I'm
something
also
wrong with
not
the
a
car.
great fan of
No.
this
I'm not going to do
steering
that to
wheel.
him. It's his
not wheel, is it?
opinion.
It's like a squircle. It's all angles. I suppose you get used to
I
it
don't have
after
to
a
agree,
while,
but that
it
is
isn't quite as
his
good as it
viewpoint.
would be
He's the one in the
if
car,
it was
not
an
me.
actual wheel, and also these paddles move with the wheel, which means that when you're mid-corner,
But I
trying to
have
upshift,
test drove a
sometimes
car,
you're
that
grabbing
car,
in the middle of your crotch,
and
trying to
I don't
change
feel that
up.
way. I'm
Not
6'3".
ideal.
Like, I'm a big dude,
Tell you what I love
so, and
about
I
this
don't,
car,
you know,
though,
I'm still
throttle
comfortable.
response.
I'm
You
6'3".
cannot beat a
220.
naturally aspirated V8 for responsiveness on the throttle. You can balance the car on that go pedal so easily, and then the instant you accelerate, it spins up. You watch the revs climb, the numbers go skyward. It's exhilarating, to say the least. The MC20 can feel a little bit lazy.
I would love to
with
test
its
out a Vette on that
turbocharged
kind of
engine,
field
but
where you
this
can just
thing
let
just
loose.
feels alive and fizzy and willing to do exactly what you want. The other really impressive thing about this car is the amount of traction you get.
Yes,
out
that's
of
what I
the
was
bends.
talking about.
Previous Corvettes, which were front-engined, could feel a little bit tail-happy, but in this, you balance it on the throttle and then power out of the corner, and it just feels planted. You get loads of
Yeah,
drive.
sharp turn.
Oh,
In control. You're more in
and it's
control.
rock solid. A lot of that comes from the fact that it's mid-engine, but also these tires are outrageous. These Cup 2Rs just have a phenomenal amount of traction leaving the corners, and also in the middle of a bend, they just hold on so well. They're sticky like chewing gum in hair. The brakes, absolutely phenomenal. Day and night compared to the MC20. Really good bite, responsiveness, consistency from that pedal. You can have a lot of faith in that brake pedal. It really, really stops the car. Oh, it's just so fast. It's actually scary how fast this car is.
This dude is enjoying it. I
What's
don't blame
scary
him, bro.
is it can carry
That's a
so
great
much
moment right
speed
there to have.
in the bends. The major limitation isn't the vehicle, it's the driver. But here's the thing, despite it being very fast, it's also somewhat approachable. You can actually play with the car, have some fun with it. The
I don't know,
front
sounds
end
like to me the
grip is
Vette one.
just mighty.
It's a lot more
And then
ups.
the traction out of the corners is ridiculous. It feels a lot more like a race car than a road car. Don't get me wrong, you can drive this on the road, but it's so dialed in. Just a different animal.
Oh, I like that slow mo. Look at that. Look at that.
Wow. Right, let's see
Well
what he
done.
does
He's
on this
controlling
final
it.
one. Throw it in.
He's controlling it
On the
right.
throttle.
Oh, wait a minute. As soon as I say that,
Okay. Like I said, the major limitation is not the vehicle, it's the driver.
I was about to say, as soon as I say it, hey, it happens. It's all good.
Corvette is hands down the more track capable of these two cars. If it was an all-out race, America's supercar would win. In fact, the Z07 would likely frighten any European rival vaguely.
I ain't gonna front. I mean, all that.
But while the Maserati
You might as well
can't
just
go
give the
around
trophy to
corners
the
quite
vet.
as quickly, it is a more accessible, approachable, and I think enjoyable car to drive. It's more comfortable, more willing to play, more willing to entertain, and is less concerned with the stopwatch. In closing then, I'd pick the Vette for sheer speed, but the MC20 simply for everyday driving and sheer fun. America for a lap record,
Fair.
and Europe for letting loose and feeling good.
Yeah, they both get the nod, but yeah, Vet on top. Anyway, let me know in the comments what would you choose, and let me make sure. I'll make sure to put the original video in the description below to make sure they get the love. But yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm a Vet. Vet is always number one, but shout out to Maserati. I always loved it. I love every single supercar, super and sports car out there. To be real, I have to really think, but I don't remember there's of it being one where I'm like, now is there's levels to it? Yes, Vet being for me number one. But yeah, I have love for all of them. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll check you later. Let me know which car did you choose.